checkbooks in Microsoft Excel. So here I have 4 storybooks that I have read, and then at the bottom I'm going to have the total books that I've read and those that I have not read. So I'm going to add checkboxes so that I can check the book that I've read and then uncheck the book that I have not read. So the first thing that you're going to do is to add the checkbox. So for me to be able to add the checkbox, I'll need a tab which is called the developer tab. And the way that I'm going to get the developer tab, up here on any of this, you can right click on it and then customize the ribbon. The Excel option is going to appear. And also another way that you can reach here is by clicking on File, all the way down, click on Options. It is going to open the Excel options. Now from here, what you are going to do is to go to Customize Ribbon, click on it, and on the right bottom you're going to find the developer option. So click on that and click OK. Once you've done that, you're going to realize that the developer tab is going to appear up there. So click on the developer tab, go all the way to Insert, and here you're going to notice form controls. There are several of them. So today we're going to focus on the checkbox form control. So click on it, and then you're going to drag and drop anywhere on your sheet. So for my case, I'm just going to do it right there. And then for you to position it well, you can use the arrow keys to position it anywhere where you want it to be. So I'm just using the up arrow key, and then I'm going to center it just around there. Now you might notice that it has a name on the side. If I click away, you will see that it has a name. For you to be able to edit that name, if you notice, if I click it, I'm going to check it and uncheck. That is a checkbox, so I cannot be able to edit that. So what you can do is hold Control and then click. That is going to allow you to edit the checkbox, so you can make it bigger or smaller or whatever you want. You can also remove this name. For now, I don't really need it, so I'm going to delete it. And then you can click away. You can hold Control again so that you can be able to position it exactly where you want it to be. For me, I'll just place it there. Now another thing that I can show you, you can head over to Insert so that you can add another checkbox. But a simpler way to do this is to select the checkbox, or rather the cell where that checkbox is. Once you've selected the cell, go all the way on the side until it changes to an addition sign, and then click and drag all the way down, and it is going to duplicate all the checkboxes for you, just like that. Now that we have checkboxes in our sheet, what you can do is to associate those checkboxes with particular cells, for example C2, so that we can be able to do something with those checkboxes. Now what I'm going to do is to link the checkbox with a particular cell, and the way we do that, you can right click and then click away, or you can just hold the Control key and then click. Now once you've selected the checkbox, you can right click and all the way down you find the format controls. Click on that and you are going to see the format control dialog box. Now the value of the checkboxes can be changed depending on what you want. As you can see now, it is unchecked. That means every time you open this sheet, it is always going to be unchecked. Now you can change that to checked so that the checkbox is always checked every time you open the sheet. Now for me to be able to link this checkbox with a particular cell, down here I'm going to click on that and then you select any cell from the sheet. For example, let me select C2 like that, and you can see it is selected there. Now you can hit OK, and this is going to turn to true. Now if I click away, I uncheck this. If I uncheck that, you can see the linked cell turns to false. Now if I click again, it is going to change to true. Now what we want to do is to link all the cells. Now select on the second checkbox and repeat the process. Now an easier way to do this is to select the checkbox that you want. Head over to the formula bar above, start with an equal sign, meaning that you are going to enter a formula, and then click on the cell that you want to link that checkbox to. For example, I'm going to click there and hit enter. Now this cell is linked to this particular checkbox. If I click here, if I check that, you're going to see it turns to true, and if I uncheck it, it is going to turn to false. Now we can do the same for the other checkbox. Click on the equal sign, start with the equal sign, and then select the cell that you want, and then hit enter. Let me do also for this one. Now that all the cells are linked with the checkboxes, what you can do is try to count the number of books that you have read. Now suppose this list was long, you couldn't keep track of the books that you have read. Now that we have that, let us try to use formulas to count the books that we have read, and also try to use conditional formatting to make this class more interesting. Now what we can do is to use a formula that is going to count the values that are true. Up here on the formula bar, you're going to start with an equal sign, and then the formula that you're going to use is called count if. And as you can see, the formula is right here, and it says it counts the number of cells within a range that meet a given condition. Now remember, here we have two conditions. It is either true or false. Now this formula is going to count only if a particular condition is met, and the first value that you're going to give is the range. So our range is this one. Just click and drag, and then after a comma, give the criteria. Now here we can either say true or false depending on what you want. In my case, I want to count all the books that I've read, so I'm going to write here true, and then close my brackets, hit enter. Once you hit enter, you're going to realize that it is counting 4 as the total number of books which I have read. Now suppose I uncheck any of this. Suppose I uncheck that, you can see it changes, it updates. Also it updates. Now that means the count if function is going to count all that are true and will return 0 if none is true. Now something else that we can do here is try to change this into a percentage. Now for me to change that into a percentage, remember, you take the total, you take the red divided by the total, and then you multiply that by 100. Now the easiest way to do this is to divide this by the total. Now we are going to divide by another function called count. You can use count or count A, which is going to count cells in a range that are not empty. Now suppose I have a lot of books here, and then there's a space, and then other books, it is not going to count the space. It is going to count only the cells which are not empty. So here it is advisable to use the count A instead of the count function. In brackets, you're going to give the value. So our values are all the way from here to there, and then you're going to close the brackets like that. So it is going to count everything here. Now suppose I hit enter on this, and then I tick maybe a few books here. Let me tick that on this one. You'll see we have 0.5 as the percentage. Now we are going to change from general to just a percentage. Hit percentage, and then you are going to see it is 50%. So we have read 2 books out of 4 books, so that is 2/4 multiplied by 100, we get 50%. Now a fun thing that we can do here now is try to use conditional formatting so that we have a progress bar showing us what is happening. We want to apply a conditional formatting so that we can watch the progress bar reach towards the right as we continue reading more and more books. So what we're going to do here is head over to conditional formatting. Clicking on it, on this drop down list, go ahead and click on data bars, and then you can select any that you want here. So let me just pick a solid fill like this, and as you can see, a solid fill already fills the entire cell. So what you're going to do, go ahead and click on conditional formatting again, and down here you're going to manage rules. Click on that, and then you're going to edit rules. So once the dialog box opens up, this is the edit format rule. As you can see, there are several settings here that you can play with, but the most important is this automatic. Of course you can leave it at automatic, but I normally change it to number for easier. Also the maximum, you change it to number, and then the value of the minimum can be at 0, but the maximum you're going to change it to 100, and make sure it is in percentage. So right there, 100%. There are other settings that you can play with down here. For example, the fill, which makes you change from solid fill to gradient, and then you can change the color. For example, you can change from, this is light blue, you can change it to whatever color that you want. For example, you can make it that color, and also the border, you can play around with that, and you can change the color of the text that appears inside. Now after that is done, you click OK. Click OK, and also click OK here. Now you can see all the books are read, and it is at 100%. Now suppose I uncheck one of these, as you can see what is happening. Now this is the progress bar in Microsoft Excel. This is so cool, and you can use this to make your own Excel. You make your own sheet as appealing as possible. You make the functions just the way you want them to work. Now I really hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you need more explanation on anything, just leave the comment on the comment section below, and I'll be able to answer any question that you might be having. Make sure you leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.